nitroglycerin. Hit your heart, bring it back to start, make you live again. Get them dividends, or we start getting ignorant. I be on that soldier shit, I told you shit phenomenal. Nah, but he a domino, so what you suckers trying to do? Rhyming comical, guess it's funny until I'm bombing you. Bring apocalypse to them pussy niggas that's popping shit. Team of all-stars, I coach them up like I'm Popovich. Fuck the politics and the lobbyists and apologists. They vagina, so we gon' check them like gynecologists. It's kinda obvious how the situation is ominous. The way I vomit this and regurgitate for the audience. And start applauding this cause the competition is fraudulent. From the era where niggas smoke you up like a parliament. The flow been stupid, shit has gotten retarded since all the dominance of one West rising to prominence. Cause I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me.
That's it, that's okay.
I'm one West till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. They want a nigga quiet, mute my maneuvers, but I ride like I got Groupons for Uber. Rhymes hard like they've been viewed by Medusa. 9 milli Luger, 17 in the Ruger. Only need a few to sit up in your medulla. Obligata for the regatta, niggas wildin', they win every dollar. They riding by black Impalas, let the semi holler. A showstopper, been as proper since a teeny bopper. But now I'm growing them off Patron, a premium of vodka. I put extensions on the Glock, modified the chopper. The war heavy, war ready, and that's word to mama. No marijuana, say I got the loudest silence on it. When I'm up on it, ain't no rapper do it like I do it. A lot of spitties and writers, but when the heat's on, none of them can get to the fire around with me. And I had them niggas spin like a tire, down the deep, and I'm still dope as a piper. Every bar burn hard like a spoon with a lighter. Fuel to ignite, I'm winning, coming through with the title because I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me.
Shalom, Israel. We're the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yohanan. We've been bringing this truth since 1969. And what is that truth? That truth is that the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and natives are the descendants of the greatest people that ever walked the face of this earth. And the Bible identifies us as the 12 tribes of Israel, which are the true Jews of the Bible. When you read anything in that Bible and it's talking about the Jews or it's talking about the 12 tribes or the Israelites, it's speaking of the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and natives. You understand what I'm saying? We got to take pride in ourselves. And the one thing me and my brother Nye War was talking about just a couple of minutes ago, basically, is our people, we have lost pride in ourselves. Would you say that's basically what we were speaking about, right? We have lost pride in ourselves. Our people have lost pride. And the reason why we lost pride is because we have no identity. You understand what I'm saying? We have no identity. And why don't we have identity? Because everything that we are and were was stolen from us. Our language was stolen from us. Our culture, our customs. Matter of fact, our Constitution was stolen from us. Would you say so? What is our Constitution? Our Constitution is the Bible. You understand? The Constitution, our Constitution is the law, statutes, and commandments, which are in this book right here. You understand? This is our Constitution right here. Everything we need is right here in this book. This is where our brotherhood lies. Listen, I forgot the brother who coined the phrase in the UPK, brotherhood is a weapon. Brother, Captain Picard, I cannot forget. Captain Picard coined the phrase, brotherhood is a weapon. You understand? And basically, we have lost our weapon. We have dropped our weapon. We have fallen upon our own sword. You understand what I'm saying? We have fallen upon our own sword. We lost that true brotherhood. You understand? We lost that weapon of brotherhood because we have fallen into the customs and culture of our oppressor. You understand? We have fallen into eating shrimp, crab, and lobster. You understand? We have fallen into homosexuality. We have fallen into idolatry. You understand? Adultery and adulteresses. You understand? We have fallen into everything that goes against everything that the Most High has told us not to do. We have fallen into those very things. Those are the customs and culture of our oppressor and the other heathen nations. You understand? The Most High tells us what? It tells us to come out of them. As a matter of fact, let's do this. Let's grab a scripture. We're going to grab, I was just looking at it. Oh, yeah. 2 Corinthians. We're going to grab 2 Corinthians, the 6th chapter. And that 17th verse.
Second Corinthians, chapter 6, verse 17. Wherefore, come out from among them.
It says, what does say that part again?
Wherefore, come out from among them.
It says, wherefore, come out from among them. What does that mean? Wherefore, come out from among them. What does that mean? That means to stop doing the things that they do. Stop being homosexuals. Understand? Stop committing adultery. That means stop indulging of the cultures of the society, but I'm breaking it down into pieces now. Basically, that's true what you said. That's right, perfectly right. But just like you said, come out of that homosexuality. Stop eating that shrimp, crab, and that lobster. Stop eating that pork. You understand? Stop smoking that weed. You understand? Stop being homosexuals. You understand what I'm saying? Stop killing each other. You understand? Because these things are the things of our oppressor. You basically what you said, you just boiled it all down in a nutshell. Bye. Stop doing everything. Booze, you know what I mean? But basically, you know, every little thing, because what happens is Think about it, right? The Christians think they follow in the Bible, but they go right home and they eat that shrimp, crab, and that lobster and that pork. You understand? They go right home and have art against their brother and their sister. You understand what I'm saying? They think they follow in the Bible, but they do. When they leave from that church or wherever they go at, they go right back into doing the very things that the Bible tells us not to do. And they do those things because the Christian preachers and the pastors don't say to us that this is wrong. God tells us not to do this. The Most High tells us not to do that. You understand what I'm saying? I sat in churches where we didn't have crab feasts, where we didn't have shrimp, crab, and lobster, where we didn't have pork and all that, selling pork chop dinners and all of that old type of stuff. You understand what I'm saying? We don't understand because we have never been told. It says, wherefore come out from among them. We have to stop doing those things that our oppressor does. Basically, what Priest Officer Nawar said in a nutshell, come out of those customs and culture of our oppressor or the other nations. You understand what I'm saying? For instance, let's go into something that just happened the other day, 4th of July. You understand? Independence Day. You understand? I spoke on it yesterday. You know, Independence Day is not something that we should be celebrating. That is a holiday of our oppressor. You understand? When our oppressor wrote his Constitution, which I just said, this is our Constitution right here. When our oppressor wrote his Constitution, we were enslaved. We were still in chains. We were still being beaten. We were still being hung. You understand? From trees. You understand? We were still getting our eyes burned out. We were still getting our feet and our arms chopped off. You understand what I'm saying? We were looked at as nothing but farm equipment. You understand what I'm saying? Basically, we were just nothing but farm equipment. You understand? When this Constitution was written, and as a matter of fact, when the Constitution was written, Article 1, Section 2 states that we are only 3/5 of a person. Now, in today's quorum, they talk about when it says that we were only 3/5 of a person, they said they did that just to even it out so the states would be even, which is a goddamn lie. You understand? They tell us exactly we were farm equipment. We were nothing more than animals. We were basically alongside of the cows and the bulls and every other farm animal that they had. You understand what I'm saying? Article 1, Section 2 tells you exactly what you are. So if you are nothing but farm equipment and an animal, and this is the crazy thing is, when they tried to explain it on CNN about why black people were considered 3/5 of a person, you understand? It really didn't make sense, especially when you read the Constitution and it tells you exactly. You understand what I'm saying? And it tells you exactly. You understand? But they don't like to take responsibility for their evils. We already know this about our oppressor. You understand? But our Constitution is right here. And we had brothers and sisters. I mean, I had some people across the alley from me. I mean, they had the red, white, and blue flags. They had the fans. They had the tents up and everything. I mean, celebrating like, you know, this is our day. Well, what did they do? Last month, they did the same thing, damn near a month ago, for Juneteenth. You understand? They threw you a holiday, threw you a bone. You understand? And these are all the devices that become traps and snares for us. Because what happens is, after so many years of celebrating so-called holidays like this, it's hard to come out from under it. You understand? It's hard to put down these holidays, especially Christmas and Thanksgiving and things like that, when these holidays call for the destruction of our own people. Thanksgiving is the destruction of the Native American Indian. You understand what I'm saying? The so-called Native American Indian. This is the destruction of our own people. And it's hard for our people to come out from among these. You understand? And it says, wherefore, come out from among them. Go ahead and finish reading that for me.
Wherefore, come out from among them, and be ye separate, saith the Lord.
It says, and be ye separate. Separate yourself. You understand? And this is what we have a problem with as so-called black and brown people. We have a problem with separating ourselves from the oppressor and the heathens. You understand? We always want to include. You understand? Well, if salvation not for white people, I don't know if white people got to be in there somewhere. And this is the reason why we think like that, right? The reason why we think all people can be saved is because our oppressor planted the seed in our mind that we were the Gentiles. And we want to experience heaven so bad when we die that everybody has to be saved in order for us to be included, when we don't realize that this book is all about us. This book is about us. Listen, brotherhood is a weapon, and all of the brotherhood that we need is contained right here in this Bible. You understand what I'm saying? But when you don't know your lineage, when you don't know your heritage, when you don't know your culture, when you don't even know your own language, these are the things that keep us down and keep us subordinate to our oppressor. You understand what I'm saying? These are the things that keep us under the foot of our oppressor. You understand? Because we understand in ignorance, we understand that if the oppressor cannot be saved, then we can't either. We understand that in our ignorance because we look at ourselves as being the Gentiles, and we look at our oppressor as being the children of Israel. We look at them as being the people who can be saved. And if we say that they can't be saved, that definitely means we can't be saved. You understand? And this is the reason why we bring truth in the Isupk. We bring truth to our people. What did we say in the beginning, right? Brotherhood is a weapon. You understand? Us giving our people the truth is brotherhood. Us giving our people the truth is weaponizing our people. You understand? It's what's the word I'm looking for? Empowering our people. You understand? What happens, you have two different categories. I think me and you talked about this last week. I believe we did. We talked about preachers and pastors do this now. What do? They motivate. Think about this, right? Motivational speakers, right? Prosperity speaking, right? Think about a motivational speaker. If you get up in the morning, you put your clothes on, and you have it set in your mind to go and listen to what this person has to say because maybe you can get something out of it, what does that mean? Yeah. Think about the step. Like I said, you get up in the morning, you get yourself together. You got it in your mind that you're going to go to this church and listen to what this man has to say because maybe you can get something out of it that can make your life better. What does that mean? No. Say the part that you said in the beginning. Say,
you have it set in your mind.
You have it set in your mind. There you go. They have you. So if you have it set in your mind that they can assist you, and you know you just got to get there, what does that mean? That means you are already motivated. Think about it, right? They're a motivational speaker, but you're already motivated to come and get something. Instead of a motivational speaker, what do they have to do? They have to empower you. What does empowering mean? It means that they have to give you the tools They have to give you the means so that you can accomplish what you setting out to accomplish. You understand what I'm saying? Think about this. Think about where we were in the UPK. Think about how you thought. Before you got knowledge of the UPK, think about how you thought. Every day was trying to get to a place where you could make life better. Right? Every day you thought. We were all, as a people, and in the condition that we are in, we are already motivated. We don't need motivation. We need empowerment. Empowering is putting something in someone's hand that they can use as universal, practical knowledge. Something that they can apply to their lives and use today and better their lives today. You understand what I'm saying? The church does not do that. The Christian church does not give us empowerment. The Christian church tries to give us motivation, but if you think about it, you are already motivated when you get up and do the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result. You understand what I'm saying? And what do they call that? Crazy. You understand? Insanity. You understand? Because people who step up into that Christian church, if you evaluate your life from this year and to 5 years down the line, most likely nothing will have changed in your life. You understand what I'm saying? By the Christian church. But in here, in the ISUPK, we empower brothers and sisters to change their lives. Think about how many brothers and sisters that come in here, and that was smoking weed, that was getting high, that was shooting, that was killing, that was selling drugs, that was doing everything under the sun. And think about where their lives are today. Empowering. You understand what I'm saying? Think about the same thing in the Christian church. Think about how many whores, think about how many drug dealers, murderers, and killers say they're all Christians. Still doing the same thing. You understand? But why do murderers, prostitutes, whores, adulterers, why do all of them go to church?
Actually, one of the criteria for joining groups that KKK and a lot of these white nationalists is to be a Christian.
Right, is to be a Christian. That's their religion. The Ku Klux Klan is a Christian. That's the Christian. The Ku Klux Klans are Christians. That's their religion.
So when you die and get to heaven, we're sitting right next to
you.
Clan member that hung and burned.
And how unfair could it be that a God would allow the same people that burned and killed and murdered you to step right into heaven and experience the same heaven that you get to experience after you were totally destroyed and everything like that. Now they were smiling down on earth, and now they're gonna be smiling up in heaven. What kind of God would do something to a people? You understand what I'm saying? And this is because it's been embedded in our minds so much so we don't understand when we really hear the truth. This is the reason why it's hard for our people to come out of Christianity, because it's almost like you ever seen them old big screen TVs that they have in the big screen store, and they got a particular picture on it for so long, and then when you turn the picture off, the picture, you can still see the pictures burned into the TV. Well, Christianity is burned into our brothers and sisters' minds, so much so that they can't be released from Christianity. Some of us are just totally destroyed. You understand what I'm saying? Some of us are just totally destroyed because that Christianity is burned into the memory banks, if you can say that. You understand what I'm saying? Burned into our memory banks. But we are destroyed people. You understand what I'm saying? Go ahead, finish reading that.
Wherefore, come out from among them, and be ye separate, saith the Lord, and touch not the unclean thing.
And it says, and touch not the unclean thing. What is the unclean thing? Touch not the unclean thing. Christianity. You can say Christianity, ball it all up. Christianity, you know? Just like you said, everything that you said, that encompasses. You understand? And think about it, right? How hard is it for a lot of brothers and sisters to stop celebrating Christmas? How hard is it for brothers and sisters to stop celebrating Easter, Thanksgiving? You understand what I'm saying? That ham on Easter, that turkey on Thanksgiving, those toys on Christmas. You understand what I'm saying? When these things get burned into your memory after so many years, when somebody comes to you and tells you, I can't celebrate that, the first thing come out their mouth, I ain't no Muslim. You know what I mean? That's the first thing come out of their mouth. I ain't no Muslim. You understand? It's not being a Muslim. It's being a child of God. Most High tells us not to celebrate these things. You understand? And God forbid you tell them they can't celebrate their birthday. I know sisters that got a birthday in a particular month, and they celebrate their birthday the whole month. You understand? They say, oh, this the month I was born, I'm going to celebrate my birthday the whole month. They take a whole week or take a whole month and celebrate. You understand what I'm saying? Don't, God forbid you tell them they can't celebrate that. You understand? I mean, because it's so embedded in our mind. So we bring the truth out. We bring the brotherhood. We bring the weapon. You understand? Basically what we doing is what? Brainwashing. We washing the filth out of their brain. They don't realize that that's filth. And then when you show scripture, oh no, I don't know, that's your interpretation. Well, I feel as though this is what it means. You know what I mean? And that's what you hear out of a lot of Christians. I feel as though this is what it means. Well, we're not telling you what we feel like it means. We're telling you what the Most High is saying. You understand? We ain't giving you how we feel. You understand? We ain't telling you our thoughts. We telling you what the Most High said. This is true brotherhood. This is the weapon. This is the Captain Picard was talking about. Brotherhood is a weapon. This is that weapon. You understand? Go ahead.
Touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you.
And it says, I will receive you. You will be mine, and I will be yours. You understand? The scriptures tell us what? That if you forget about me, basically, I will forget about you. You understand? Once you turn your back on the Most High, you have turned away from the Most High. The Most High has no choice but to what? Turn his back on you. You understand what I'm saying? Brotherhood is a weapon. Right, exactly. If you want to go out on your own, that's just like, I was talking about it last night. It's just like, your father keeps telling you not to do. Eventually, he going to let you go out there, and he going to take his loving hands away and say, okay, I'll let you go out and figure it out yourself. You understand? Hopefully, you don't get murdered or, killed on the street before you wake up and realize. But most of the time, we're going to take a beating. You understand what I'm saying? And that's what the Most High has allowed our oppressor to do to us. You understand? I'm just surprised that listening to Donald Trump for 4 years, that a lot more brothers and sisters' eyes didn't wake up. I mean, think about it. People used to mask, our oppressor used to mask how they really felt about us. You understand? Now they just come out. You understand? They just come out and tell you how they feel. You understand? And if that doesn't wake you up, I mean, I don't know. It says that road is narrow, right? Straight and narrow. The road to destruction is wide. You understand? That straight path is narrow. You understand? It's only one way to go. You understand? It's only one way to go. Go ahead. What?
Matthew.
Hold up for a minute. Let me get that. Matthew what?
7:13.
Go ahead.
Matthew chapter 7, verse 13. Enter ye in at the straight gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction.
It says, for wide is the gate and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction. Listen, that's an easy walk. It's an easy walk to destruction. Think about it. If you don't have a job, it's an easy walk to go sell drugs. It's an easy walk to be a prostitute. It's an easy walk to go and rob somebody. You understand what I'm saying? It's an easy walk to go and be a pimp. You understand? It's an easy walk to go and hustle somebody. You understand? Go ahead.
And many there be which go in thereat.
And see, and listen, look, a lot of people make that decision. A lot of people go in that direction. You understand? We see it every day. You understand? A lot of our brothers and sisters, that's the easy way to go. It's easy to do wrong. You understand? It's easy to take a negative path. Go ahead.
Because straight is the gate, and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life.
Hey, listen, it says straight is the gate and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life. Listen, the way is so straight that only one person can walk through at a time. You understand what I'm saying? What does that mean? Listen to what I just said, right? Listen to this. It says, because straight is the gate and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life. Listen, narrow is the way. Narrow so much so that only one person can go through at a time. You can't go through shoulder by shoulder. So you got to go one at a time, following. What does that mean?
Exactly that. You have to be a follower.
Have to be a follower.
According to this scripture.
Because the road to destruction is wide. Many people can go through at the same time. But narrow is the gate. We got to follow one direction. There is one direction. This is being on one accord. Listen, when you go in this, listen, remember we used to play Pac-Man? You ever see that pattern that they used to use and you could go through like 20 boards using the same pattern? It's only one way to go to do that pattern. Once you come off of that pattern, everything gets screwed up. You understand what I'm saying? Straight is the gate, meaning everybody has to go in the same way, thinking the same thing, on the same accord. You understand? Zephaniah 2:1 says, what? Gather yourself together. Yea. O nation I desire. And when it's saying gather yourself together, it means, just like we always say, right? When you gather yourself together, you have to be on one accord. We always talked about that. Many groups have always come together, but those groups never seem to break forth any fruit because of what? Because everybody has their own agenda, right? And you have to be on one accord. You understand? You have to be on one accord. Zephaniah 2:1 says, gather yourself together, yea, O nation not desire. When you gathering together, you have to come together and be on the same accord. There's only one truth. When you following the only truth that there is, you're going in one direction. There's one straight and narrow path. That means you can't eat shrimp, crab, and lobster. You can't eat pork. You can't be a homosexual. You can't smoke. You understand? We can't be drug dealers. We can't murder. We can't be adulterers or adulteresses. We can't be idolaters. You understand what I'm saying? Everything is, this is it right here. This is, when you're going through this gate, only one person can come through at a time. It's not wide. You understand? But it is a truth. It's the truth. You know what I mean? You can't go in shoulder to shoulder. You gotta go in a line, single file. You You understand? Go ahead.
And many there be which go in thereat, because straight is the gate, and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it.
And few there be that find it. Think about this, right? How great and how grand is the Christian church? How great and I'm talking about worldly. How great and how grand is the Christian church? You have billions of people in the Christian church. How many people we got in the UPK? Enough. We hanging in there. Think about it though. We slowly growing. We growing. We under the radar right now. So much so that I ain't saying under the radar that nobody knows about us. You know what I'm saying? What I'm saying is we small. When people see us, oh, that's them groups. That's the people that be out here yelling and everything like that. That's how they look at us. But when that day comes, everybody gonna be like, yo, I seen them. I know them. I could have been. You understand what I'm saying? You ever seen somebody do something and you be like, damn, that could have been me. I had that chance to do that, but I didn't do it. You understand what I'm saying? That's how it be. You understand? It says, and few there be that find it. Only a few people gonna find this path. Listen, people gonna see this path, right? But they gonna choose not to take it. You understand what I'm saying? People gonna see the path. People hear the truth, but shrug it off. You understand? People hear the truth and say, well, that ain't the truth. You understand? Few, it says, and few there be that find it. Think about how many years that you saw the brothers out on the street speaking, and you didn't take heed at that moment. You understand what I'm saying? Because it was years. Listen, I remember them being back down in the 90s at Lexington Market. Listen, when Shoe City was across the street on the corner right there, before it moved across by the subway. You understand what I'm saying? I remember when I used to know the girl. I used to go in there to Shoe City to get my sneakers right there. You understand what I'm saying? And then they moved over, and I used to see them. They used to be right there, speaking right there. And I stopped a couple times and I listened. And then I saw another group down, when you go down the pathway, down the, right between there, when you go down at the bottom and it was dudes sitting down there speaking. I remember all of that. I seen them a couple of times. I saw quite a few different groups, even the group that was on Franklintown. I guess the Most High said it's not his time. You understand what I'm saying? Because when I heard it on YouTube, it clicked just like that. It was, and the thing is, I never even remembered until I came into the UPK that I had saw them back in the 90s. You understand what I'm saying? It was just another thing, and I stopped, and I remember the dude giving me the flyer. You understand what I'm saying? And I had the flyer for a long time. That's why when I got the flyer the second time, I said, damn, this is the same flyer. It's the same flyer from all them years ago. You understand what I'm saying? It was the same flyer from all them years ago, because I always remember, you ever see the picture with the lady with the thing around in her mouth, and they got them chained up with the thing in her mouth, like some kind of brace or something like that. I remember that picture. You understand? And then I remember how they had the people laid out in the boat. You understand? When they had the people, how they had them lined up in the boat, the true Holocaust, that, and you understand? I remember that. You understand what I'm saying? I thank God that he took the time, or gave me the time, you understand, to come into the truth. Because it was a lot of times that I should have been murdered on the street. You know what I mean? I almost got killed a couple times. You understand what I'm saying? Look at me now. You feel me? And that's when you know that your life, everybody's life has meaning. It's just that when are you gonna wake up and understand what that meaning is? You understand what I'm saying? Brotherhood is a weapon. You understand? And we truly use it now, being in the UPK. Go ahead to the next one. No, go to 15.
Beware of false prophets.
It says we have to beware of false prophets. What are false prophets? What are false prophets? Right. Or anybody who speaks anything other than what the Most High speaks. Another doctrine. Exactly. You understand? Go ahead.
Which come to you in sheep's clothing.
Say that again.
Which come to you in sheep's clothing.
And this is exactly how preachers, pastors come to us in sheep's clothing. Not to mention those black politicians. They come to us in the same way. You understand? Telling us to vote for this oppressor. Vote for that oppressor. You understand? What's his name? What's the black dude, the black Republican that we always talk about? It's always showing his teeth. You understand? Yeah. Something Scott. I forgot. He was up there speaking for President Trump and all of that. You know what I mean? He's a wolf in sheep's clothing. Let's just put it like that. You understand? And they deceive us because they receiving scraps from the oppressor's table. You understand? They would rather feed themselves and watch us be destroyed than to help our people come out of slavery. You understand what I'm saying? Go ahead.
But inwardly they are ravening wolves.
But inwardly they are ravening wolves. You understand? They feed off of us too. You understand? Think about it, right? If I say to the oppressor, I can get you 3 million votes. You understand what I'm saying? All you have to do is do this for me. That's a ravening wolf. You understand? He feeding off of us just as the oppressor is feeding off of us. You understand what I'm saying? He feeding off of us the same way. Go ahead to 16.
Ye shall know them by their fruits.
Think about it. Ye shall know them by their fruits. You understand what I'm saying? Look at the people in the church. Look at the preachers and the pastors, right? And look at the people who sit in the congregation. Look at the fruit. Is that good fruit or bad fruit? Think about it. I'm asking you here.
Oh.
Is it good fruit or is it bad fruit? Think about it. Right. That's bad fruit.
Selling drugs with Jesus
Right.
on their neck.
Right.
The cross.
Shit, on their arm, on their chest.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? That's bad fruit. It said, listen, the scripture says, ye shall know them by their fruit. You shall know a false prophet by his fruit. Think about all that prosperity preaching that they do in those churches, and think about how good people feel when they up in their church, and then all of a sudden, a half hour after they leave their church, they back into poverty. You understand what I'm saying? Your people are destroyed. You understand? Basically, these churches are nothing but huge clubs. That's it. You pay to get in to a club. You pay to get out the church. You understand? They both play music. They both get you sweaty and tired. And by the time you leave, you understand? You done had your fill. Now it's back to the grind again. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
Do men gather grapes of thorns or figs of thistles?
You understand? Do they grab grapes of thorns or figs of thistles? Do you grab the things that you don't need when you know exactly what you need? Do you grab the thing that you don't need? Or do you understand what I'm saying? We gotta as a people, we have to wake up. You understand what I'm saying? And that's why we sent out here. You understand? To wake our people up, to get them to understand that this ravenous wolf is only out here deceiving you. This ravenous wolf is only out here eating off of you. You understand what I'm saying? You got to come back to the true law, statutes, and commandments. You understand? They tell you in the Christian church that the law is done away with. You understand? Tithes ain't done away with. They said Creflo Dollar got that $65 million plane, huh? Ain't that something? $65 million. You know what Commanding General Yohana could do with $65 million? Go ahead to 17.
Even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit.
He said, even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit. Think about Command General Yohana. Look at all the good fruit he bringeth forth. You understand? Think about where we was before we came in. Think about our thought process before we came in. You understand? I'm going to do what I got to do to survive. You understand? That was my thought process. But now I'm thinking like, now I'm going to do what I got to do to survive in righteousness, though. You understand what I'm saying? I'm going to do what I have to do to survive without harming my brothers and my sisters. I'm going to do what I have to do to survive without breaking the law. You understand what I'm saying? That's the fruit that Commanding General Yohana brings forth. But think about how many, just like we said, the Christian church, how many drug dealers go to church, how many prostitutes go to church, how many people who do evil things go to church. They come to church, they good for an hour, then they leave church and do what? Go back to evil. You know what I mean? A lot of the brothers and sisters feel like if I come to church and I give something or I donate something, then that'll clean my slate for another whole week. You understand? That cleans my plate for another whole week. Go ahead.
But a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit.
But a corrupt tree brings forth evil fruit. That's what we were just talking about. You know what I mean? Let's drop that. Or hit that last one. Hit that 18.
Verse 18. A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit.
A good tree can't bring forth evil fruit. Go ahead.
Neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit.
Neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. You understand what I'm saying? Basically, good can't create evil. Evil can't create good. Good. You see?
That bringeth not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire.
Go ahead.
Wherefore by their fruits ye shall know them.
Wherefore by their fruit ye shall know them. Listen, every bad tree will be hewn down, chopped down, and thrown into the fire. That, go ahead.
One of the first things that come to my mind is that Catholic Church moving around and protecting child molesters.
Right.
So according to this, nobody would agree that that's bringing forth good fruit. And so not only are they not bringing these people to justice, but they're literally shuffling them around, moving them to other states and other positions just so they can commit crime against somebody else's children.
Right.
They have records and they know going back for years that these people are basically destroying people's children and they are allowing them to continue to do it.
Right.
I mean, I don't know how you would describe that as a corrupt, poisonous fruit.
Right.
And they're allowing it, so that particular organization, that Catholic Church, has to be cast into the fire, so to speak.
That's like Commanding General Yohana did a show on the East Indians a couple of months ago. When the East Indians, you know all the gods they worship, right? And when that coronavirus hit them and started destroying their people, they started throwing all those gods away. You understand? Because they understood that these gods are bull. You understand what I'm saying? And it says, every tree that bringeth forth good fruit, every tree that bringeth not forth good fruit, is hewn down and cast into the fire. Basically, that's what those East Indians did. They cast all of those devils that they was worshiping into the fire. They casted them down. You understand what I'm saying? That's the same thing that's happening to the Christian church now. People starting to realize that the Christian church is full of it. You understand what I'm saying? So now that Christian church is being hewn down slowly. You understand what I'm saying? And it's being cast into the fire. You understand? People's eyes are starting to open of what they not getting out of the Christian church. What they thought they were getting, they are not getting. You understand? They being slowly chopped down and they beginning to be tossed into the fire. You understand? So now,
Not just that, but now you're starting to see certain churches actually accepting same-sex relationships.
that's the fall. That's the fall. Think about it, right? When I was coming up, that was an absolute no-no. You understand what I'm saying? Even with the Catholic Church being fakers that they are, they even outwardly said no. You understand what I'm saying? They even outwardly said, I grew up in the Catholic Church. Once I turned 18, my mother let me do what I wanted to do. I stopped going to church for a while. Then I started going to the Christian church. You understand? Got kicked out the Baptist church. You understand? Being kids, got kicked out of the Baptist church. Started going to all those holy churches and all those, not low mom and pop churches, but it was regular. They was nice sized churches with nice congregations in them. You understand what I'm saying? But nevertheless, they was Christian church. But they didn't accept the homosexuality. And now, being intermingled and being married to these churches, being married to the customs and culture of our oppressor, now these churches are starting to accept homosexuality. At the end of the day, that is a no-no. You understand what I'm saying? It is a no-no to accept homosexuality, and this is the beginning of the end of the Christian church. Just like on January 6th, we watched the beginning of the end of our oppressors' reign and rule. It's the same thing with the Christian church. Right now, when they started accepting homosexuality and all of these other things, this is the beginning of the end of the Christian church. What we have to do is we have to take advantage of the people who are beginning to wake up, and we have to use this brotherhood as a weapon to bring them in. We have to weaponize what we have to bring them into the truth. Let them know and understand that all of these years we have been learning a lot. You understand? Come find out who you are. Come find out your real history. Come find out who you are biblically. Biblically. Okay? You understand what I'm saying? Right. According to the Bible. Come find out who you are according to the Bible. You understand what I'm saying? And that's what we have to do. We gotta get our people to understand. And you know what? That's what really wakes people up. You understand what I'm saying? Is finding out who they really are. People like, what? That can't be me. And then when you start showing scriptures and you start getting people to understand, that's why I like to tell people, when people start talking, all I do is say, look, all you got to do is read Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. That's it. You understand what I'm saying? Just read that 28th chapter and you'll understand. And they'll start catching on. All right? Right now, I want to get into this article. This is an old article. And what I was tying it into is I'm tying it into this 4th of July. It's Juneteenth. understand? Anything that makes us feel like we are independent. You understand? Independence Day was never meant for the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and natives. You understand what I'm saying? This was never meant for the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and the natives. And this article, this is the East St. Louis race riots of 1917. Listen, it says 100 Negroes shot, burned, clubbed to death in East St. Louis race war. All right? It's the East St. Louis race riots of 1917. Yep. You didn't have to go to it. I'm gonna read it. Read this article. It says the East St. Louis race riots of 1917, right? 100 Negroes shot, burned, clubbed to death in the East St. Louis race war. The city of East St. Louis, Illinois was the scene of one of the bloodiest race riots in the 20th century. Racial tensions began to increase in February 1917. 470 African-American workers were hired to replace white workers who had gone on strike against the aluminum ore company. The violence started on May 28, 1917, shortly after the city council meeting was called. Angry white workers lodged formal complaints against black migration to the mayor of East St. Louis. After the meeting had ended, news of the attempted robbery of a white man by an armed black man began to circulate through the city. Listen, check this out. In 1917, you know brothers wasn't trying to rob no white people back then. You understand? We knew the consequences of what could happen. Think about this. It had already been about 8 or 9 race riots that had already been heard of back then. You understand what I'm saying? Not to mention over 200 plus slavery uprising or revolts. You understand what I'm saying? These race riots happen all over the country, not in, what do they call it? Not in, what's the word I'm looking for? Not in isolated incidents. It wasn't isolated incidents, but these things were happening all over the country at particular times. You understand what I'm saying? And race riots were not something uncommon. This was a common thing. You understand what I'm saying? This was something that happened frequently. So basically, brothers and sisters was trying to tiptoe through without causing any kind of stir. You understand? But as soon as the oppressor felt like he was being run over, he found anything that he could do to start a race riot. Now, when they started these race riots, understand what was happening, right? They were going through destroying beautiful black cities and towns. You understand what I'm saying? They were going in and robbing. It just wasn't a race riot, but they were going in, robbing and pillaging, which is what? This is what the oppressor does. You understand? This is nothing new. You understand? They find any way, anything that they can do to take advantage of a situation. As a result of this news, white mobs formed and rampaged through downtown, beating all African Americans who were found. You hear that? The mobs also stopped trolleys and streetcars, pulling black passengers out and beating them on the streets and the sidewalks. Illinois Governor Frank O. Loden eventually called in the National Guard to quell the violence, and the mobs slowly dispersed. The May 28th disturbance were only a prelude to the violence that erupted on July 2nd, 1917. You hear that? So this happened in May. 2 months later, they had another one. You understand? This wasn't something that was an isolated incident. This was something that happened on a regular. You understand? This is nothing new. After May 28 riots, little was done to prevent any further problems. No precautions were taken to ensure white job security or grant union recognition. You hear that? This is a prelude to say, okay, this is the reason why it happened all over again. You understand what I'm saying? This further increased the already high level of hostility toward African Americans. No reforms were made in police force, which did little to quell the violence in May. Governor Loudon ordered the National Guard out of the city on June the 10th, leaving residents of East St. Louis in an uneasy state of high racial tension. What does that sound like? He moved the National Guards out so white people could do what they wanted to do. You understand what I'm saying? This is not something that's an isolated incident, but this happens all over. You understand what I'm saying? Listen, check this out. On July 2nd, 1917, the violence resumed. Men, women, and children were beaten and shot to death. Around 6 o'clock that evening, white mobs began to set fire to the homes of black residents. Residents had to choose between burning alive in their homes or run out of the burning house, only to be met by gunfire. You understand? In other parts of the city, white mobs began to lynch African Americans against the backdrop of burning buildings. As darkness came and the National Guard returned, the violence began to wane, but did not come to a complete stop. Listen, the National Guard didn't bring anything to a complete stop. As a matter of fact, everything resumed. In response to the rioting, National Association for Advancement of Colored People, NAACP, sent W.E.B. Du Bois, a sellout, and Martha Grewing, which, look that up, Martha Grewing. Is that an oppressor? Oh, pull that up. No. I'm saying pull up Martha Grewing. See who she is. MarthaGruening. See if you can pull up a picture of her. She a sister? It's an oppressor? I think that's an oppressor. To investigate the incident. Yeah, I figured that name looked like it was Jewish. I didn't want to say it, but yeah. To investigate the incident, they compiled a report entitled Massacre at East St. Louis, which was published in the NAACP magazine. Think about this, right? This is the NAACP, and they're working right alongside with the so-called Jewish man, right? Every time we have a group or something like that, we always got to include our oppressor. And if you think about it, right, and it's always somewhere in that, it's always some Jewish man in there included. You understand what I'm saying? Even when I did a class on the March on Washington. And on the March on Washington, they called Martin Luther King and the other brothers that was in there, they called them the Big Six. Well, at the top of the Big Six, over top of the Big Six, it was the Big Four, which included 4 white men. And one of those white men was a rabbi, a Jewish rabbi. You understand what I'm saying? They always the four white men at the top were the ones who really ran the March on Washington. The March on Washington was really supposed to be a march on the White House. When John F. Kennedy got a whiff of that march on the White House, he called Martin Luther King and them and told them they had to do something to calm the people down. Martin Luther King and them said, well, look, we didn't have anything to do with this. This is something that they did. You understand? What JFK did was he paid them $1.5 million and put them over top of the March on Washington. So they slid them in and put them on it. And then they turned the march on the White House into the march on where they did the march at on the, what was that, the Capitol? They did that, what that, the march on the Capitol, right? Yeah. And they got paid half of it before the march. And if the march went well, then they gave them the other half after that, which the march went well, and they paid them the other half after that, $1.5 million, which was $250,000 a piece they gave to them. And back in, think about this, back in 1957? 63? Martin Luther King died in 68, right? 1963. $250,000. You know how much that was back then? That was a lot of dough. Listen, I was telling somebody my mother had bought a Pinto wagon off the lot in 1974. A Pinto wagon in 1974, which if I'm not mistaken, she paid like $3,000 for it. You see what I'm saying? $3,000. So just imagine years before that, $250,000. That was like having a couple of $1 million. You know what I mean? In response to the rioting, all right, let me get down to this. Here we go. They compiled a report, East St. Louis, which was published in the NAACP magazine. The NAACP also staged a silent protest march in New York City in response to the rioting. Listen, a silent protest march. We ain't gonna say nothing. We ain't gonna do nothing. We just gonna walk. You understand what I'm saying? And our oppressor loves when we do nothing and say nothing and just march. You understand what I'm saying? That's why you ever watch the news when they say, oh, it was a peaceful protest. It was so beautiful. It was a peaceful protest. But when niggas riding in the street, oh, it was a mob. You understand what I'm saying? Because they know if you do a peaceful protest, we ain't gotta give you nothing. You understand? That's why this is a weapon right here. Thousands of well-dressed athletes. Look at that. You see that? Listen to that. Thousands of well-dressed. That means they had on suits and ties, hats and dresses, big hats and all of that. You understand? Something that you know you don't want to fight in. You understand? Oh, this was well-dressed. Oh, they were well-dressed. You understand what I'm saying? African Americans marched down Fifth Avenue, showing their concern about the events in East St. Louis. How can they be showing their concern when they wasn't saying them? It was a silent march. You understand what I'm saying? This is crazy. Let's grab a scripture. Ecclesiasticus. Ecclesiasticus 12 and 16. Matter of fact, hold up on that. Let's start up at 10. We got Ecclesiasticus. Isn't it? Oh, you doing it off of that.
Ecclesiasticus, chapter 12, verse 16.
No, start at 10.
Start at 10.
And this right here, right? This is the problem with our people right here, right? What was we talking about earlier? We always like to include our oppressor in everything that we do. You understand? And in everything that we do, that we include our oppressor in, it always comes up to naught. You understand? It doesn't bear any fruit at all. You understand what I'm saying? Go ahead and read that.
Ecclesiasticus, chapter 12, verse 10. Never trust thine enemy.
It says never trust our enemy. And this is the problem with our people. You understand? We always trust in our enemy. And a lot of us, because of the Christian church, we don't understand who our enemy is. We don't understand that the oppressor is our enemy. Go ahead.
For like as iron rusteth,
For like as iron rusteth, go ahead.
so is his wickedness.
So is his wickedness. Just like iron rusteth. No matter what you do to iron, eventually iron is going to rust. You understand? Eventually iron is going to show its true properties. You understand? No matter how much you polish it up and shine it up, eventually the rust is going to show through with iron. This is just what happens to iron when it starts to oxidize in the natural atmosphere. The true properties of the iron is going to show through. Well, it's the same thing with our oppressor. If you sit long enough with the oppressor, eventually his true character, his true intentions are going to show through. You understand what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Verse 11. For like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Verse 11. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou had wiped a looking glass.
Listen, basically what it's saying is, look, though he humble himself, though he make himself look good and go crouching, he humbles himself, go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass. Listen, if you wait around long enough, eventually his true intentions are going to show through. You're going to see exactly why he's there. You understand? Go ahead.
And thou shalt know that his rust hath not been altogether wiped away.
And thou shalt know that the evilness that is in him has never left. You understand what I'm saying? The evil that is in the oppressor has never gone anywhere. It is still in him. You understand? It has never gone anywhere. Listen, there is no such thing as a good oppressor. Let me explain to you why. Right? Every time we get into a problem or a situation, you understand? Which oppressor comes to our aid? Which oppressor speaks up for us? Which oppressor stands for us? Or say, I'm with you? Which oppressor does that? The oppressor with no power. And the oppressor with no power is basically a propaganda tool. Now, what I mean by that is, if none of these oppressors stood with us, then we would all come together on one accord. But they have to have oppressors that say, I'm standing with you, but the oppressors that stand don't have power. But us, being who we are, we feel like, oh, it is good white people out here. It's good oppressors out here because they stood with us, but those are the people who have no power. Those are the ones that they use for propaganda. These people, think about this, right? Think about every time you saw riots, right? And then you seen windows and stuff getting bust out. Who were those people busting those windows out with the masks and the gloves and everything else on? Those were the oppressor. Listen, the oppressor stands with you because he has an ulterior motive. And his motive is to further destroy us. So what they do is they do the things that they want us to do. They know that if they begin to bust out those windows and start burning stores down, then eventually brothers and sisters will start running up in those stores and start looting. And it's automatically going to make it look like we did it. You understand what I'm saying? Listen, there are no good oppressors. The ones that stand with you have an ulterior motive. You understand? To further destroy us. There are no good oppressors. Let's go. Hey, drop down to go ahead to 12. Go ahead, finish reading. Go ahead.
Thou shalt know that his rust hath not altogether been wiped away.
Right.
Verse 12. Set him not by thee.
Don't set him by you. And this is the problem. This is what happened with the brothers and sisters that had the march on the White House, that turned to the march on Washington. They set the oppressor by them. You understand? Martin Luther King, what's his name? The one that just died last year. I can't remember his name, but all of them, they set the oppressor right by them. They put the oppressor in there to work along with them. Go ahead.
Set him not by thee, lest when he hath overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place.
Listen, after they overthrow you, after they get you to do the dumbness that you do, they're going to stand up and stand in your place. You understand? This is why every organization that is supposed to be a black organization is run by white people. You understand? Because they are controlling black people. They are controlling black people so that black people don't get ahead of themselves. You understand? This is the only organization that is not run by white people. The Isupk, Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. This is the only black organization that you're going to find out that is not run by the oppressor. Go ahead.
Neither let him sit at thy right hand.
Neither let him sit at thy right hand. This is what the oppressor wants. The oppressor wants all of your trust. You understand? He wants everything that you got so that you can put your trust in him. Go ahead.
Lest he seek to take thy seat.
Lest he seek to take thy seat. That's his whole purpose. He is seeking to take your seat, take your place, control us. You understand? Go ahead.
And thou at the last remember my words and be pricked therewith.
Go ahead.
13. Who will pity a charmer that is bitten with a serpent?
It says, who will pity a charmer that is bitten with a serpent? What does that mean? What does that mean? Who will pity a charmer that is bitten with a serpent?
When you're dealing with snakes, you can't be surprised or pitied when you get bit, because the nature of a snake is to bite.
Right. So when you get duped by the oppressor because you think you can deal with him and you can do business with him, when you get duped, who's going to pity you? You knew who you were dealing with. Didn't he make, what is that, over 177 peace treaties with the Native Indians? And he broke every one, right? So what do you expect? You understand? You making one treaty with him. You don't think he gonna break? He did 177 with them and broke all of them. He making one treaty with you. You don't think he gonna break that? What's the chance? You understand what I'm saying? What's the chance? You got one peace treaty with him and you know he gonna break that. You understand? Think about this. Think about what happened to, I'm gonna go back to the Central Park 5. Think about what they did to them young boys in Central Park 5, right? They said, listen, if you tell us the truth now, or if you admit to this, then we're going to let you go home and you can go home tonight. They admitted to it because they just wanted to go home. They admitted to it and they all got locked up.
Even more recently, with Bill Cosby.
Yeah, with Bill Cosby.
Bill Cosby, they originally told him that
he wouldn't get arrested if he gave that testimony.
he had an agreement.
Right, an agreement.
With the oppressor.
And they broke that agreement. You understand now? I'm not saying what Bill Cosby did was right, but it's the same recourse, right? He had an agreement. He had a covenant with them too, right? He had a peace treaty with them too, right? Yeah. Let me ask a question. Let's go even deeper than that. What happened to Harvey Weinstein? Did he? I thought that was the other dude. That was the other dude. That wasn't Harvey Weinstein. That was the other dude, the one that died in prison. Not Harvey Weinstein. No, what was the other dude that died in prison? Harvey Weinstein. Pull his face up. Yeah, he's not dead yet, is he? No, remember the other one is the one that died in prison.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's not him. He haven't even, listen, remember, who, him? Yeah, but listen, remember, he got caught way before Bill Cosby, remember? And they had evidence, they had the video, they had the the recordings and everything. The telephone calls, the recordings, they even had the videos, right? They caught him a year before Bill Cosby. But then when they caught Bill Cosby, they locked Bill Cosby up. Remember, he was still out. Bill Cosby was locked up. You understand what I'm saying? And then on top of that, Bill Cosby was in a regular prison. He in a daycare. He at a daycare. You know what I mean? He at a daycare. And they had full out evidence against him. You understand? Hey, listen, check this out. With that, I'm gonna say we are Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Started out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yohana. Been bringing this truth since 1969, and what is that truth? The truth is that the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and natives are the descendants of the greatest people to ever walk the face of this earth. The Bible identifies them as the 12 tribes of Israel, the true Jews of the Bible. And with that, pass the class over to Priest Officer Nawar. I just saw that book. The book is right there. Yep, that's it right there.
ISUPK security announcements. We are the ISUPK out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, and we are under Commanding General Yohana. New rules for brothers and sisters. When a brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. After 6 months, if the brother or sister is interested in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother or sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. You can find this in Numbers chapter 18, verse 21, and Malachi chapter 3, verses 8 through 10. It means 10th in Hebrew is pronounced ma'ashra. 1/10 of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, you give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund. It is a free will offering for priests. It is not mandatory. It is whatsoever amount you would like to give. Upcoming holy convocations, memorial blowing of the trumpets, that's in September. We still have the Midwest barbecues. Those are coming up. Check out ISUPK.com to get those dates and times. Remind Akim and Aquathium to check in on social media such as Isupk.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on for Isupk events and materials. If a brother wants to be a trooper in the school, then he is to start wearing all black, which includes black boots, shirts, pants, headband, or a scarf. And with that, we're going to give one courteous salute to the teacher, men of Israel, Amaju, Shabbat, Amaju, Barak, how about Shem Yabashah Rakatham?
How about Shem Yabashah Rakatham?
Yab Nematah, that's dismissed.
Listen well to what I tell. No calling can cause pain. Something that a rebel knows very well. Can't you tell I was sent from the Lord? Got a tongue like a two-edged sword. With his my whole life trying to find something to follow. Had loyalty, every man tried to borrow. Felt pain and a lot of sorrow. Got betrayed, so packed I didn't even have my heart broke. Living confused, about to lose hope. Cops got me on the side of the road like a sideshow. Eating antidote before I croak. Now I'm setting fire to rhythm man blues. Boy, this guitar smoke. Rapping with no cause, trying to find direction. The world got me vexed. Picked up a bad liquor habit that's hereditary from oppression. Feel like my life was on fire, trying to find the exit. Now look, 10 G's busting to the wreck. Sometimes a follower is a soldier, trying to find a good ship. Plus when you in hell, how do you excel? With the breath of life, I'm believing fairy tale. Listen well to what I tell. No calling can cause pain. Something that a rebel knows very well. Can't you tell I was sent from the Lord? Got a tongue like a two-edged sword. With his my whole life was trying to find something to follow. Had loyalty, every man tried to borrow. Felt pain and a lot of sorrow. Got betrayed, so packed I didn't even have my heart broke. Living confused, about to lose hope. Cops got me on the side of the road like a sideshow. Need an antidote before I croak. Now I'm setting fire to rhythm man blues. Boy, this guitar smoke. Rapping with no cause, trying to find direction. The world got me vexed. Picked up a bad liquor habit that's hereditary from oppression. Felt like my life was on fire, trying to find an exit. Now look, 10 G's busting to the wreck. Sometimes a follower is a soldier, trying to find a good ship. Plus when you in hell, how do you excel? With them the breath of life, I'm believing fairy tale. Listen well to what I tell. No calling can cause pain. Something that a rebel knows very well. Can't you tell I was sent from the Lord? Got a tongue like a two-edged sword. With his my whole life was trying to find something to follow. Had loyalty, every man tried to borrow. Felt pain and a lot of sorrow. Got betrayed, so packed I didn't even have my heart broke. Living confused, about to lose hope. Cops got me on the side of the road like a sideshow. Need an antidote before I croak. Now I'm setting fire to rhythm man blues. Boy, this guitar smoke.